show that is this bus podcast, guys. Yeah. So normally I have the intro, guys, but I'm doing this for my phone, and I don't really know how to do this for my phone. So brand new fun deal. I am trying to figure out how to see the chat too. So if you guys just yell loudly, and I will try to respond to you. But unfortunately, the only thing I can see apparently is the private chat on this screen. So, anyways, we are on Janelle's bus, who is currently literally parked in my parents' side yard because of some circumstances that came up during the trip. But first, we have a guest that is got a limited time window, so we're gonna let um, the guest doesn't know this, but I suck at intros, so I let the guests introduce themselves and let them talk about themselves because they're going to do a better job than I ever will, and then we'll kind of get right into it from there.
My name is Joe Santiago. I am the co-host of the NJ Multi-Species podcast with my co-host Chris Pereira, and we've
Perfect.
been doing the podcast for 2 years now. It's our second year.
How are you liking the podcast game? Are you like kind of? I mean, obviously, probably have the same problems we have, but
Obviously, with the podcast itself, the technical issues, and then the social media aspect, the trolls are horrible. I can't stand the trolls. And as the following number grows, so do the troll numbers.
yeah.
So,
Isn't that annoying how that goes?
my partner is one of those people that just like lets it roll off his back, doesn't care at all. Like I get bothered and take it all personally. So yeah, I hate that shit. But other than that, it's been good. It's been a wild ride. We've got to fish with some of the best fishermen in New Jersey on some of the boats that we would never get a chance to go on. We got to interview Ted Nugent on our podcast, which was amazing. That was something like once in a lifetime. So it's opened up definitely a lot of opportunities that we wouldn't have gotten without it.
Yeah, it's amazing what like community you can build and then keep growing and new people come in and the contacts and the network that you get. Like,
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's unreal.
yeah,
We started when we first started the podcast. We didn't like how Facebook like kind of blocks your posts and wants you to pay to boost it. So we figured out that like if we made a group, they can't do anything to you in the group. So we created NJ Multi Species Mayhem, and that's grown to like I think it has 2,300 members now. So now we do like group trips. We'll just put up a post in there and we'll rent out entire party boats. So the community, yeah, you're right. Like the community that it's grown is unbelievable as well.
yeah, that's awesome. You guys fish primarily from boats, boat angler type guys.
We'll fish from the river and waders for trout. Both of us hate surf fishing. It's the one thing that like we just like if you ask us to go fishing a lake from shore, we just don't want to do it really. I like shark fishing off the beach, which isn't even legal, but I like doing that. Like that's the only land-based fishing really I like.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, we're big kayak anglers over here. Also have a G3 16.5 aluminum. It's my dad's, but I get to use it and dabble around. But I mean, growing up in South Jersey, a lot of bank ends for me, and then the kayak makes life a little bit more easy. A lot of the lakes down by me, you can't even have electric motors on them, so
Yeah.
kayak is just kind of the way to go.
I have a Wilderness Systems 120 kayak that I do use like for because we have a lot of good fishing lakes here that just don't have a boat launch, but they have a car top launch. So
Right.
the kayak's like a whole nother weapon in itself. I'm not one of those people that'll say, "Oh, I'm going kayak fishing," or I'm entering a kayak bass tournament." Like that's not me. Like
Yeah.
my kayak is just for where the boat can't go.
Don't worry about Mike. He's just handling his stuff. I'm listening to you. He's listening. He's just dealing with
Oh,
all
I
the
know.
technical stuff. Yeah. I just kayak angling has a certain spot in my heart. I mean, there are times when a boat is more effective. There's times when the kayak is more effective. There's other times when you can sneak in from land and do a bank send or wade, like you said. So there's a
I
lot of
think
different
too
ways to get in there.
like a lot of places that you're going to get on with the kayak, you're obviously using a kayak for a reason because it's probably a pain in the ass to get on it. So that body of water is probably less pressured than like one with a nice boat launch. So
Right.
I think you can find some like less pressured water when you're kayak fishing, fresh water.
Yeah, I
Salt
agree with
water,
that.
like salt. I'm sorry to cut you off. Salt water, like, is out the window. I did it one time, and I could only think of a shark eating me the entire day, and I never went and did it again.
Yeah, no. The
Yeah,
only thing
no.
that I would
The
like
only
to do
thing that I
would
would
change
like to do would be
threads,
take threads,
maybe
maybe
from a kayak, but
from a.
like I don't know. I'm starting to get further away from that idea every time I think about it. So we'll see.
Yeah. Do you have a
For me,
pedal
that
or
kayak is
pedal
actually.
or?
Yeah, I have the
Yeah, I
old
have
Tal
the old Dell
106
106
PDL,
PDL,
so
so
good little
good
sturdy
little
little
sturdy
boat.
little boat.
So
Mike just
you
Might
upgraded
just
his.
upgrade it.
so you would do. I mean, you could handle salt water like in a back bay,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah.
as long as you don't like think about a shark eating you the entire time, like me.
I just
I just
it's not
it's
something
not
that that's
something
not a
that that's not
situation
a
I
situation
want to put
want to
myself
put
in.
myself
That or
in. That or
gators.
gators.
No, thank
No,
you.
thank you. I don't even have equipment for saltwater. None of my reels or anything are would be they would just be garbage after I was done with them unless I took them apart and cleaned them.
You guys both South Jersey,
I'm South
I'm South
Jersey.
Jersey.
He's
He's
Vermont.
Vermont.
Vermont. You have good fly fishing there, right?
Yeah. The big I have actually never been fly fishing, but it's something that's on my bucket list for soon. But yeah, up here it's weird because I'm predominantly bass fishing, but there is an entire like the trout is actually the king in Vermont. Like most, you're gonna find most fishing stuff is tailored towards that here.
Yeah.
And we have a ton of. I mean, Orvis is 2 hours from here, the factory where they're
Yeah.
making everything. So it's a pretty popular sport around here. There's a lot of streams and a lot of places that's pretty much the only way to fish. Like you're not even going down nows with a kayak because it's not deep enough in most places that you would get 100 yards and then have to portage it for a mile and then another 100 yards. It's not worth even going down with a kayak. So
Yeah. Gotcha.
Now,
now,
Joe,
Joe,
you and your
you and your
partner,
partner,
your
your
co-host, I
co-host,
guess I should say, are you
are you
guys
guys?
related? Are you friends? How did you guys meet and start doing what you're doing?
We met on Facebook and we started, fishing together. And eventually we kind of like said, basically in a nutshell, it was bass fishermen that set me off. Um, I feel bass fishermen have the worst tunnel vision on planet Earth. They focus all their attention on bass fishing. Every TV show is bass fishing. Every aisle in the fishing store is bass fishing. And I said, we got to stop. Like, we need something else. Like, this is enough of this the same green fish over and over and over. Like, so we wanted to create a podcast and a fishing channel that basically targeted every fish in New Jersey except bass. I mean, we still go for bass just because they're there, but we literally fish for everything in New Jersey except bass. So, like, we're all over the place, and every week we're chasing a different. That's what kind of made us friends. Was this? We both shared this obsession of always chasing the next species. What?
No, no, that makes sense. I have a friend of mine who he makes fun of me because I put everything in my kayak. I always have from, the smallest fish to the biggest that I could possibly catch that day. I try to have it all covered in a decent size package. I don't want to overload it, but again, I'm there to catch a fish. So if, the crappie are biting, then I'm gonna go for them. If I find a trout, little nook or cranny or something like that, then I'm gonna do that. If I find bass, then I'm gonna fish for bass. I'm there to have a good time, catch fish, and just enjoy, my surroundings and nature itself. So it
I
makes a lot of sense.
we have in order. The striped bass fishermen are the worst. They're the number one biggest cry. Number two is the trout people, the fly and I'm a fly fisherman. Trout people are horrible. And then number three is the muskie guys. The muskie
Oh
clan,
man.
they're the worst, the crybabies. But The thing with New Jersey that just makes it so unbelievable is the species because of the stocking program. I mean, we have world record black fishing. We have they're saying now it's the best sea bass fishing in the world. Um, what's the other one we have? The stripers. The striper
Oh,
fishing right now in New Jersey is the best in the world. And then when you come into the freshwater, you now have four lakes that have landlocked Atlantic salmon. There's walleye lakes everywhere in North Jersey. I know South Jersey kind of gets the shaft.
yeah, we do a
Um,
little bit.
yeah, I had we used to have a trailer down there, so I know the Pine Barrens in that area real well too. But um, hybrid striped bass, we have those up here. Another amazing fish. People come from out of other states to fish for those. So really, when you think of New Jersey, like it's not up there on like a state you'd think about for fishing, but in reality, on paper, the fishing you could do in Jersey is probably rivals some of the best in the United States, realistically.
Yeah, I feel like we are an underdog state, and that's one of the things that I want to explore this year, especially like with the bus now, is going to those hidden gems and those places that like the stereotypical New Jersey, stereotypes and all that stuff kind of gets blown out of the water because we do have some really beautiful places and some really
Oh,
good fisheries.
and I'm not saying that the fishery, the freshwater, the saltwater fishery, obviously that's naturally happened. The freshwater fishery, it's not like New Jersey has some climate that like grows trophy fish. It's strictly so good because the New Jersey warm water stocking program is so good, and they have so many different species. And now they're trading northern pike fry to Massachusetts for the landlocked salmon, and we're putting those out in lakes. So I mean, it's just endless what you could every day step out the door for in New Jersey and go for a different species, and that's really what we love to do.
Yeah, I agree. Mike, what's your favorite species to fish for? If you say, well, except a bass.
Actually, so to be fair, actually, no, my favorite species is king salmon or chinook salmon. That's actually where, so my background started with trout and salmon fishing. My dad would do the whole trolling thing. We'd go to Lake Ontario and do the like king salmon fishing thing when they did the run in upstate New York. We did a lot of like trolling for trout growing up, but I got into bass fishing because of the accessibility of it. Because there's so many places that have bass. Like there's places that don't support anything but bass because bass are kind of one of those species that they could live in a pothole if it was big enough and enough frogs jumped into it to keep them fed. So, but actually, salmon's probably one of my favorite to catch, and I'm
In
kind
the
of
river,
spoiled being from
in
Vermont.
in the river, in the lake.
So for me, it's been I've never really done the river deal. We've always gone out on the lake. Dad has a 25-foot fiberglass, so we're doing the like deep sea trolling style.
Yeah, not see.
So
I've done both, and I love I love fishing for salmon in the river. So do my kids.
yeah, salmon are just the way they fight. It's the fight and the amount of power in those fish is
Oh
just
yeah,
incredible. It's just nuts.
love them. I love salmon.
It's probably the only fish species that like I've actually literally while doing the trolling deal, we've had to literally trade off the rod. Like the fight gets to the point where like we've had salmon fights going out and you're just exhausted because you're just literally holding this thing and it's amazing how something that's even the 25-pounder, how much like it really tires you out fighting those fish. I
Oh
couldn't
yeah.
imagine doing it like with waders or like these fly fishing guys that catch them. Like I couldn't imagine doing it with that because I'm doing it on you know
Well, you
downrigger reels and high end rods. So
in the river, it's like very different. Like you'll people don't even ask you how many you caught. Like people will say, "How many did you hook?" Because you're
right,
really realistically you're just going to hook them and break them off all day.
yep,
You're not going to land many, but you'll land
yep.
some if you get the right. But yeah, they're amazing. I agree with you. They're not my favorite, but one of them definitely.
Yeah, it's on my list, like my bucket list of what species to like really get into.
But again, they're all on my list, so it's
Well,
not
that's
fair
another.
for me to.
Listen, that's another thing that I put into the category when you're considering New Jersey fishing. I mean, everything in New York is within 5 hour drive of New Jersey, including the Great Lakes, which is just it adds to New Jersey another thing you could do, and then you throw in the Catskills and the Adirondacks, which are even closer. It's just endless possibilities, not enough time.
You're getting so much feedback.
Am I
Am I
getting
getting too bad? Yeah, bad.
We're just gonna hand off the microphone because his feedback is terrible.
No problem.
So like to go on that, like you got the Finger Lakes, like those aren't very far, and you're talking every one of those Finger Lakes has like a different species. It's like how New York stocks those. They actually like kind of isolated each lake and they overstock walleye in one, salmon in another, trout in another. So you get literally within 2 hour drive from one to the other. You can literally, like you were saying, you can go hit a lake that was basically designed to be a walleye lake and then turn around and go to another one that's designed to be a trout lake. And then obviously Cayuga's got the smallmouth that's famous for.
See, and it's funny that you bring up Cayuga because like I wouldn't even mention smallmouth. Cayuga, I'm thinking lake trout and Atlantic salmon. Like it's funny how how this perspective changes. Like the smallmouth's not even on my mind for Cayuga, but for you it is, and that's cool because fishing. It's what makes fishing so cool because everyone could basically make fishing whatever they want it to be for themselves. Um, that's why I think I hate trolls so much because I hate when other people try to ram their opinion down your throat. Like, it's just a picture of a fish. There's no reason to get angry about it.
Right. Yeah, that makes total sense. I don't know why people think that they need to voice negativity. Like, if you don't like it, then just don't watch it. Don't be a part of it. Don't subscribe to it. You don't need to, add your 2 cents to somebody who's just trying to do what makes them happy in their life.
For an
Period.
example, we recently had an episode where we had a female angler on who likes to fish for blackfish. That's all she does. She likes bottom fishing for blackfish. She made a comment that she doesn't like striper fishing because she thinks they're easy to catch. She was crucified for making. I mean, they crucified her for this. If the girl thinks that stripers are easy to catch and doesn't like to fish for them, I mean that's her opinion. It doesn't.
Right.
That's it, and she doesn't have to fish for stripers. I don't understand this philosophy of okay, well, she doesn't do what I do, so now I'm going to be a bully. I just hate all of it. I can't stand it.
Yeah, the world would be a much better place if that didn't happen, or at least as often as it does. It's terrible.
Yeah, it is. It really
To
is,
be
and it's
honest,
like social media feeding it.
Oh, I know.
the biggest concern I have too is female anglers in general. Like there's a lot of stigma on like I've seen a lot of people heckle people. And I will tell you right now, as like in the bass world, for example, Christine Fisher can outfish most of the dudes
Hands down.
that she fishes against. And I've seen a lot of female angler like YouTubers, and then you look at their comments and they're like, get back in the kitchen. And I'm like, why?
Right.
Like we need more people in this sport so the sport can grow, because otherwise it will die. If you don't, especially with the new generation spending so much time in front of screens, there's going to be a lack of people doing it, which means companies aren't going to be making products for it, and it's going to slowly die off. And instead of like heckling each other, like, and the same thing for me, I'm predominantly a bass guy. I will say the only demographic of people I don't like on the water is jet skiers
Oh.
and wakeboaters.
Oh. Yep.
What are
If somebody's
what's
out there with
those?
a trout boat, I'm cheering them on.
What's that
If
thing
somebody's
that
out
they stand on? Like they're standing on it and using an oar.
They flip it.
Yeah,
What is that thing?
I forget what those are.
I hate those things. Sometimes they sit on a cooler.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think we're starting to definitely see a big increase in female anglers, which is a really good thing. I think that like some of the conditions of some of the like boats need to be improved now for the female. Like obviously, they're not going to use the disgusting, atrocious bathrooms we use. Like you need to start like, but yeah, the female market I think is definitely there if you provide the proper setting that a female needs.
Yeah, the funny thing was with Mike and the ice fishing, I was like, "You need to leave the shanty or you need to look away because not look away, but, like, you need to get out because I have to use the bathroom." So it was, like, a fun, like, jockeying a position, and it's really just again, I'm all about all inclusivity, so, like, whoever you are, whatever background you come from, gender, race, ethnicity, whatever you believe in, you should do what makes you happy. And if I can bring somebody in and show them the outdoors and they get some sort of happiness from it, whether it's fishing, camping, hunting, whatever it is, I just love seeing that. And you're right, with females, like we do need, I don't want to say that we need, okay, every the male species runs a certain way, the female species runs a certain way. So yeah, we would need a little bit better of a bathroom situation or what have you. But like, that to me is really like the only difference is like we pee sitting down, you pee standing up. Other than that, we can do what you guys can do and vice versa, sometimes better or worse. But at the end of the day, we're all equal. So I don't know why it's a problem to bring in women to this sport or why it's such like men just have to come in and make their comments. Here you go, Michael.
What's weird too that we've noticed is like women are more accepted in hunting. Like the hunting community somehow really accepts women with open arms, much better than the fishing community does, and that just you wouldn't
Yep.
think that, but it's exactly the opposite of what you'd think.
There's too much good old boy mentality in the fishing. One of the things that bugs me the most up here right now, matter of fact, literally this weekend, there is a statewide ice fishing tournament where they're bringing all the fish to one town in the middle of the state. And they're not really posting a leaderboard. So you're going to have guys bringing truckloads of pike and perch and trout that are just going to be frozen, useless. They're not even going to be able to eat them because they're going to have to haul them 2 hours from the lakes that they're fishing and then nail them up on a board. And there's too many like good old boy tournaments where you could easily have done that with a measuring board online style, not killed all those species of fish. And the thing that bothers me is those fish are just going to be thrown in a dumpster after the tournament. Like no one's even going to eat them.
That's a
And
whole
I'm not
nother. I
saying
mean,
don't keep fish. Keep fish. If you want to eat the fish, if that's your legal limit, do it.
More ladies in fishing is
I
But
mean,
that's
the
where I
apps
think
exist. The
sorry, go
apps
ahead.
exist now, like Fishing Chaos. And that's another battle we've been dealing with. We're trying to get some like contests going on these apps that use GPS locators. They eliminate cheaters, and you can release the fish. It's just a picture on a measuring board. But for some reason, like the old school guys, oh, I'm not downloading an app. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing. They don't want to do it. You'd rather drive like a dead frozen fish 4 hours away to like you're just being
yeah.
ridiculous.
Would you
Like just
rather
download.
devastate the population, kill the fish, like waste that like there's a whole domino effect when you do something like that.
I
And
think a lot of people are just casting. I shouldn't say a lot of people, but there's a number that's out there, and it's just people that are casting a fishing rod, hoping to take a picture of a fish. They're not actually looking around at what's going on, like what the biology is doing. They're just not. They're just like they think they're just pulling fish out of a bottomless pit, basically, and not paying attention to shit. Those are the sportsmen that just aren't conservationists. They're just slobs, basically.
I don't think they're sportsmen. I just think they're kind of like jugheads in a sense. I think a sportsman is somebody who respects all aspects of fishing, everything that comes with the oh my goodness. I had the word it in my head, not the conversation, the conservation. Thank you, Janelle. the conservation side of it, the biology of it, the habitat, what that needs, and enjoying all of it, the ups and the downs, and enjoying the sport as a whole. Just like a basketball player loves putting in the work on the court and putting in the work when they're at home or when they're in the gym. It's not just when you're there. It's all of the things that come with it.
Well, just like you just said, the ups and the downs. Realistically, in fishing, if you're having more ups than downs, you're lying because there's way more downs than ups. It's a sport that you have to kind of put a positive twist on it and keep trying because you're going to fail more than succeed.
Oh, today on the ice, man, I think I pulled so many I pulled the minnows off the tip up so many times. I think I lost at least 6 fish. It might have been 7. And we were out there in a blizzard. 7. We're out there in a blizzard and it was just like miserable, and at a certain point my brain was just like, I'm so done with this. And I was like, no, like we drove out here, we drove all the way up here. We're here with the mic. Like we're putting in the time. We're not going back early. So I was like, all right, let's move the tip ups over. Let's figure out something else, and like let's just keep grinding, regardless of what my brain is trying to tell me. Like pull myself out of it. We love what we're doing, and like yeah, we invented a game and just like enjoy the adventure at hand. Hence
What's
why
the
my
main
channel
What's the
name
main
is
species?
what were we in that lake there were perch, pike. I really want to catch a decent sized pike on a tip up. I caught a smaller one on Carmi, which was great, and I caught a smallmouth. So like those are 2 fish and crappie. So check that off the list. But today it was just a lot of perch and bluegill. But like a largemouth, a pike, a walleye would be fantastic. Trout tomorrow possibly or Saturday, whatever
If
day today is.
if you want to know a quick tip that we just recently started messing with, we switched all our tip ups to circle hooks, and
Yep.
you can literally let the flag go up, and the longer you wait, the better. With the J hook, you run over and pull the line too soon. Circle hook, you just keep waiting, and then eventually. So far that has been working. I mean, so I would check that out about putting small circle hooks on your tip ups.
I'll give that a try.
Our biggest problem today was a lot of the false flags, or I guess they probably were really fish because a lot of times the minnow was stripped. But what it is we have in that particular lake, there's a lot of pike that are just biting the minnow off the hook. They're smart enough to avoid the hook altogether. And you also have crappie and perch that'll like basically head bump. Like we were using an underwater camera. We were talking about that game. So I literally had bluegill head bumping my camera. Like
Really
they were
cool.
coming up to the camera and they were like literally face bumping it. And they were
You
doing the
need to
same
put
thing
a.
to
You gotta get you need a hook on the camera.
I literally, so what happened was I got so bored. I'm like, I'm going on an adventure. And I literally just took my camera and an auger, no pole. I was like, I'm just gonna go see if I can find a pod of bait fish, like see if I can find perch or bluegill or crappie or something, and then we'll fish it. And then it became shortly after that, Janelle came running over, and then it was me going left,
Right,
move it,
with my rod.
raise it, lower it, hook it, and then the fish goes flying up off the screen. It was like the coolest game we've ever played. Like I know forward facing sonar has like the mantra of like being video game fishing. We
Yeah.
were legitimately video game fishing.
What are you
I
guys
was sitting
using?
there like telling her he's got the worm.
What are you guys using for an electronics?
Oh,
Nothing
make
really.
fun of me?
We literally had nothing for that kind of stuff.
I have the Garmin Striker 4 for my kayak. For some reason that froze and wouldn't work for me. And then Mike made fun of me because I bought like a $20 Temu underwater camera, which works just as well as his, which he spent a little over 100 for.
I
he
have
doesn't
a
really-
striker. I have a striker 4 on my kayak too, and it comes with that ice kit. I don't have that ice kit thing, but it
Right.
has a flasher mode.
Yeah, I know it has flasher mode. I'm gonna play with it a little bit more tonight. I'm gonna really recharge it and see if I can figure it out tomorrow because I have like the box and everything for it. But yeah, this is really my first time ice fishing, like properly. Like again, South Jersey doesn't get ice. Like the couple of we're not. The couple days of ice fishing that I had was with some buddies of mine. They know two like really good holes and spots, and we got lucky and we caught fish. I also think it was because we don't like those fish don't see live bait in the winter. So I think when we set those tip ups the first 2 days, they were like, "Oh my god, food!" and they were just like hammering it. And then
Oh,
after
yeah.
that, they were full. But
Always
yeah,
as the ice season goes on, the fishing gets not as good. Like first ice is the best, and then ice out is the next best.
right, because it's like those fish. They know, like they just like a deer knows, like have around here it definitely is pressure. But
Yep.
yeah,
We were fishing an 80-acre pond, and there was 7 shanties on it.
yeah,
wow.
we were. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. And two of those guys weren't there. That was we wanted. He wanted to fish in between these two shanties, and he's like, I don't want to mess anybody up. And at the end of the day, like we should have just gone there. There was nobody there, so we fished the opposite side of the bank that we really didn't. He didn't know as well. So, but yeah, I got to figure out that striker 4. I brought it on the upside that I could figure it out like just quickly, but again, the underwater camera kind of also helps because it's just like drop it down, spin it, and then it's just like boop boop boop. Oh, bluegill, and then bluegill was like, and then every once in a while he would just bop the camera, and you were like, what the heck? It was really cool.
That's hilarious.
I honestly think that I think we just lost him, but
Come back.
I honestly think that the underwater camera is probably the best investment that I've made for fishing, because for the ice fishing thing, we could literally see what was there. We could see bait fish moving around, and it gave us the advantage of having an actual view. Sometimes with a fish finder, you'd think you're marking fish and you're marking thermocline, or you're marking crap that just happens to be floating in the water that it's marking. Whereas, and even your camera for $20,
Not bad.
it's not like, it's not an aqua view. We're not talking 4K DVR cameras here, but you can definitely drop it down there, tell what species of fish it is, see where it is, tell that there's structure down there, see the offshore structure. And Janelle's going to laugh because of an inside joke. But it's definitely for ice fishing. I don't even necessarily think for summer fishing it's going to be important for me for anything other than just making content. But ice fishing, it's like drill a hole. That's what we're going to do tomorrow. I'm not even setting up tip ups right off. We're going to drill a hole, drop a camera, see what's down there, and then start from doing that and then pick some stuff up, because I think it's going to help us start more efficiently instead of just drilling a bunch of holes and then moving later.
Right. You guys may notice that Joe did drop out. I don't know if he's going to be coming back. He did have a limited time frame as far as how long he could be with us today, but I like the guy. I like his perspective, and as somebody who is a multi-species angler, I do love that he's like, screw the bass, we want to catch everything but the bass. They're just kind of like a bycatch, but like a good bycatch, which is really cool. Yeah, Mike went. So again, everybody kind of thinks that like I have this. I don't want to say that everybody thinks, but like the fact that I was able to come out here for 10 days probably gives people the idea that I'm like made of money and that I have like a good job and that like, yeah, no, I'm over here eating like cup of noodles and crackers and using a bunch of Temu gear and like just trying to pinch every penny that I possibly can to do this. And I want to let everybody know that you can. Oh, he's back. Hey, Joe.
Kicked, I think, or dropped.
Yeah, you dropped right out, which was crazy. I was just talking about a lot of people have this perspective of me that like I'm made of that I make really good money and I'm able to travel and do what I'm doing, but really it's quite the opposite. I've probably never made less money in my life, but like I've made that sacrifice so that I can do what I'm doing right now, and like doing a lot of side hustles and side work and like just saving as much as I can and working a job that's very flexible, even if it's minimum hours. It just allows me to travel and do the things that make me happy in life. And Mike over here, he's got a pretty good job and he gets all the fancy tools and the Strike Master and and all that good stuff. But I was over here making it happen with like 25-cent jig heads and a $20 underwater camera. So anybody out there can do what we're doing and just go have fun, and that's what it's all about.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah. Good to have you back. Here you go.
That's actually the biggest thing, like with the multi-species or like fishing in general, is that's one of the reasons why I started a YouTube channel, because I was seeing so many people that were watching, and you can appreciate this being from Jersey. You see all these southern bass channels, and they're talking about baits that they're clearly sponsored by, or they're saying the only way to catch a fish is to use this Dobbins rod or this G Loomis rod or this stupid expensive reel. My first like 3 or 4 5-pound bass, which is kind of like the starting of like the higher tier of bass, were caught on a $25 lose combo I bought at Walmart. And I get so irritated that people think that you need a $10,000 forward facing sonar setup to catch fish. Now, don't get me wrong, I have a brand new kayak in a garage right over here. I'm probably going to be upgrading the forward facing sonar, but I hate the guys that push the content of you have to have these products to catch fish. You don't, and especially in the multi-species game.
I mean,
That,
I would say it depends on the situation. Like black fishing or tog, like if you have a cheap reel, it's going to explode in 1,000 pieces. Up on the Salmon River, if you hook a king salmon in the river with like a cheap Cabela's combo that has like a shitty drag in it, it's going to explode on the first fish. But then there's other scenarios like with the rods, like an ugly stick. For $20 you could buy one; it'll last your whole life. And then a St. Croix graphite for $300, it snaps just looking at it. Are you ever going to get the sensitivity out of the two the same? No, but the $20 one will put the fish on the deck the same way the $300 one will.
Yeah. I think especially when it's something that you're new to and you're kind of just dipping your foot in, because this sport that we are in, again, you can go penny pinching or you can go kind of balls to the walls and you can go with the top gear. But we're all at a level playing field because it's kind of like it's a gamble in a sense. Like you can try to put all of these pieces of the puzzle together and have the best gear or not the best gear, and you can catch the biggest fish of your life. You can catch, the state record or the world record or what have you in whatever species it is. But just getting out there and trying it, like it's not too expensive to start, and then if that's something that you find that's your passion, then you can build up your gear from there.
I agree.
Blacksmith Sports said, caught my largest bass on an ultralight combo from Walmart, and Scott from Honor said, that's funny, Mike, because my first bass was off the loose combo as well.
I think the biggest thing is like, and that's why I try to do with my channel, and I know definitely Janelle's going to do that with hers, is I try to encourage this is what you need, not what you have to have. Like I'll say spinning rod. You need a spinning rod. I'm not going to tell you need to buy the highest end spinning rod. I'm going to tell you what power and action spinning rod, buy what you can afford. Because what I find a lot of people do with fishing is, and if you want to know, go on Facebook Marketplace. I guarantee you those guys selling huge combo platters of their entire fishing supplies is because they watched somebody on YouTube that told them they needed to buy all that stuff. They bought it all. They spent way too much money on it. They had a couple bad days of fishing and they're like, this sucks. And they're going to sell everything. Whereas if you start with like a $20 rod and catch a bunch of fish and then work your way up to the FX rods or the Dobbins or the whatever brands that you prefer, then that's when you really get dialed in. Because like you were saying, would I fight a king salmon on my crappy Cast King bait casters that I use for catching largemouth? No. I can guarantee you there's not very many of my bass rods that would hold up to a salmon.
I could give you two of my biggest hacks for saving money, and then I have to go because I have to get ready for ice fishing. But
no problem.
When it comes to spinning reels, the Shimano Sienna, it costs $29.99, and it is one. It's not one of the best spinning reels you're ever going to get, but for $29.99, a Shimano Sienna could basically do anything you need a spinning reel to do. And then if you want a bait caster, the Lose LFS, the light fast speed or whatever they call it. I mean, those are $65. I like those more than some of my $200 bait casters. So the Lew's bait casters and the Shimano Sienna. I mean, those are two really low. If you want to step up a little more, you could go to Fluger, and but still, Fluger makes
Those
great
Fluger
products.
President reels are
Oh yeah,
They're my
solid.
favorite.
And they're
absolutely.
not really expensive for
No.
what you're getting.
No,
Not at all.
So no, I'm the same. I go with a lot of Lew's. It's funny because I had a hard time casting like straight fluorocarbon on most reels, but for some reason, the way those loose spools are,
right.
I was able to go to like straight fluoro on a lot of reels. And if you have a Dick's Sporting Goods near you, Lew's makes the carbon fire reel, which is
Yeah,
like $50, which is that same. It's kind of in that same vein as the reel you were saying, but it's an exclusive to Dick's
yeah.
Sporting Goods.
And
It's
now
basically a speed spool reel.
we're starting to also see Cast King. Like a
I
lot of
know. Yep.
Cast King
New
stuff.
baby.
I keep seeing the price on Cast King stuff, and I buy it, saying this is going to be junk, and I'm just blown away by it. Like I bought a folding up net. It's like an unbelievable net. So far, everything we've seen from Cast King has impressed us for the price.
Their aerator is awesome price.
Yeah, Mike bought their aerator for ice fishing, and that thing is dynamite. It also tells you like it lasts 40 hours off a charge, but it'll tell you at what level, how many hours or minutes or what have you it has left on it, which is pretty freaking cool.
Yeah,
But
you're
Joe,
starting to see Cast King come up in everything, and they're
yeah,
making great stuff.
yeah, I like them a lot. I love their 3700 tackle box. Dude, I got a Charlie horse. So sorry. Yeah, Fluke Master, he's doing some good things over there. But Joe, I want to thank you for being on the show. Your perspective and your conversation with us was nice, even though it was limited. But you've got a big trip tomorrow, which I'm excited about. But before you leave, just leave your socials or your information so people know where to find you if they want to check you guys out.
We're basically NJ multi species on every platform: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Podcast comes out every Friday at noon on YouTube, and it's on all our platforms. And then if you on Facebook, NJ Multi Species Mayhem, that's our private group of fishing people where we do all our trips and stuff from.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Stay safe tomorrow and
Thank you
tight
guys
line.
so much. Thank you, and good
Yep.
luck to you guys too. Awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thanks.
it, man. You have a great night. Here, take this. I'm gonna stoke the stove.
She's running away, guys.
Yeah.
So I want to give you guys. I wasn't gonna do this, but
You always break this shit.
I
always do this.
I like doing this for the people who join the live stream because you guys are kind of like my dedicated audience, and I kind of want to honor the people who are willing to, come watch us in the middle of the night from a bus in my parents' front yard. So if you haven't seen the advertisement, I'm literally recording a multi-part series. Janelle's going to be putting stuff out, but I will admit, and she's going to yell and be mad in a minute. Her taking the time to edit videos and stuff is different than mine. So, if you follow her channel, she still hasn't finished the bus yet that we're in right now. So you actually follow chronologically from her videos. The bus isn't finished yet, but it's definitely finished in Leicester right now. But so this trip has been already crazy, and we have gotten on fish every time, but we still have a bunch more days coming, and there's going to be, my goal is to start next week, once a week, have some videos coming out weekly showing you guys the whole season. But it's kind of going with my new theme of my channel, which is going to be more video series. I'm going to be doing more, like, I'm actually camping. Like, for example, the first night that Janelle got here before, but basically I camped in my truck, guys, in -8,
Probably warmer than me.
4 inches of snow on the truck when I woke up in the morning, in the cap of my truck. And just stuff like that. there's more content than just fishing. It's going to be a lot of off the water antics. This right here is a perfect example of we're doing the podcast from the bus while somebody stokes her fire. But I also do want to ask that if you guys have any specific types of like tip, trick videos, stuff like that, if you're interested in that stuff, I'm still making those. So if you guys have stuff you want to see, let me know. But I am going into more like, you're going to see, instead of just seeing one video of me fishing, you're going to see 4 videos of like the whole weekend. Or in this case, what is it? 7?
10 days.
Basically I'm pretty much off all week fishing. I'm exhausted. So we're probably not going to run this one super, super long because we're getting back up at, 6 o'clock in the morning to go fishing. Today, for those of you in Vermont, just I don't know if you guys got the weather down like Scott, Vermont, or we had probably like 6 inches of snow, wind, everything that I own. Like, I know at least 5 times throughout the video I said nothing on me is dry. I have nothing that is dry because we were just in the snow the whole time. And I'm trying to get Janelle to come back up here this summer if finances allow, like we were saying earlier, to do another summer version. And if that happens, Scott Vermonter, I'm going to try to convince her to come down to Somerset, and we're going to camp out down there at least one night with the bus. So if we do that, I will hit you up. Oh, and I suck. So I'm going to admit this right now. We actually did a drawing for a bait, but we did it after the show was over. And the reason for that is because somebody forgot to do it on the live stream. So Tim Williams actually won a bait. I have his address. I'm sending it out, but I did want to mention that. I'm also working on some partner deals that I will be able to announce later on once they get completed. And I'm going to try to do some, like, let's say giveaways. I might do some of my plastics and things like that. But what I'm going to do, so be aware, is it's only going to be announced towards the ends of show. So if you don't make it through the whole show, you're not going to know when we're doing the giveaways. And as we establish more sponsorships and partners, we'll do more of them. But a lot of it's out of pocket right now.
Yeah. This trip so far has been fun. You guys just saw me stoke my wood stove. That's my main source of heat. We got a little buddy heater going because it was 7 degrees or so. It's been cold. I texted my parents texted me and they were like, "How is it?" And I was like, how are you doing with the cold?" I was like, "I love it." Because we were catching fish, so I didn't care. And my mom said, "We always knew you were weird." Tell Mike, "Don't forget you, LOL." Rude. Yeah, so it's been anything but dull, which you guys will see in these videos. And tomorrow's going to be interesting. There's a bit of forecast that we may just go out and brave, or we may decide edit in the morning, get some work done, and then head back out. You shouldn't have even called out of work. You should just went to work. Nah, it wasn't worth it.
I called out sick, guys.
He did, and you know what? Anybody who's at Mike's work, get over it. Sometimes you just gotta take the gamble. I mean, how many times am I gonna come up here?
And we're going to my home lake, guys, so
Yeah.
probably 60% of my content's filmed at the body of water. I wanted Janelle to see it, but also I have a basic idea of where we could catch fish, but the forecast is calling for 32 to 35 mile an hour winds. And Janelle's so small, I'm afraid she'll blow away, and I'm gonna have to fly her like a kite to get her back. Probably tether her down with shanty anchors.
You do remember watching me tackle the shanty as it blew down the ice. Tackled it.
I'm telling you guys, this is probably my best series that I haven't even edited yet because it started with drama. It started with chaos. Let's just say there was rednecks, chains.
There was almost like a $25,000 mistake made the first hour of the first day. That's all I'm gonna leave you guys with.
Phone calls to wives to order stuff for me. It was
malfunctions. I got sliced like crazy on a hook set. Like my hands are absolutely trash. Just so you all know, like me and Mike were talking.
I caught myself on the blind.
Get out of there. Yeah, the blind bit Mike today, and he's got a pretty decent cut.
Trying to like help me by taking it away from me, and I'm pinned in the hub, and I'm like, no, I'm in the blind. She's like, yeah, I'm trying to help you, and I'm like, no, like physically connected to the blind.
I didn't realize. It was a time, but where was my thought process going? I was running. Mike and I are on the same idiot wavelength, which is so freaking incredibly great. A lot of inside jokes, a lot of references to like TikTok movies, songs. A lot of stupid shit has been going down, but like I absolutely love it. And we will probably make this an annual trip. For me, I mean, in New Jersey we get ice maybe once every 5 years if we're lucky. So the only outlet for me would be to come up here and do this. And I was telling Mike the other day when we were on the ice, I was like, I felt like I was in an outer body experience when I caught like a 3 or 4 pound largemouth on an ice fishing rod with like 2 little tippets in my home state. Because I felt like I was watching the YouTubers that I've been watching since, for 15 years, like doing these things. And I know it's not that crazy it's very accessible. You know what I mean? Like you can drive and go do these things, but until you do, it feels so far away of like you're just watching all these other people do it and you're like, "Oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I had the money. I wish I had this. I wish I had that." It was like a full circle moment of like me achieving this like dream and like doing it, and it just felt so incredibly real, and I just like I'm so grateful for that. And that's why I will always preach experience over things, even though I do like my toys, but like I like my toys so that I can go do things, you know? So yeah, it was just a really incredible moment, and I look forward to hanging out on Mike's parents' property every winter.
Yeah. So, long story short, Janelle is camped here for the remainder of the trip. For a lot of reasons that you'll have to watch the videos because of, but more or less, this is something that it's actually, I think it's kind of cool for me, and it's an ego boost for me in a way because, and I'm gonna like take the ego boost for a second and explain it, but Janelle got first smallmouth through the ice, first pike through the ice, and realistically, other than the Cayuga journey, this is the first solo adventure with the bus, really. And it's, in a way, in my mind, her first solo adventure because I haven't been here like Tuesday, Wednesday. Now, granted, now she's parked in my parents' yard, but Tuesday, Wednesday, she did her own thing. Like she was actually on her own. Whereas like Cayuga, we were packed into a single site. So we were all there. She's actually been independently. So she's really been able to start her journey. And in my opinion, like she kind of I don't know how, like recaptured her content passion. Cause I've noticed like a lot of her content stuff, like I watched her film and stuff, but like I've seen her doing stuff on this trip that has me encouraged that she's kind of got back into the groove of doing it. Yeah. And that's what's really cool is like my goal was to try to get her on fish every time we went out, whether it was small species or whatever, but also like make it as easy as possible because I know her financial situation, and that's why we kind of planned it the way we did. And she will probably say this and probably bitch about it in private, but I've like big brothered the shit out of her and like was like, well, if you're gonna do a trip like this, come to Vermont because you have a network here. I have people on both sides of the state, and if something happened, even if you aren't staying with me, I can probably call someone and have them there in 45 minutes. And this trip was a perfect example of everything that could go wrong, went wrong in one way or another. And I mean, it worked out really well, I think, but
I think phew. Let's get emotional. No, let's not get emotional. I think that I don't cry. This you're not wrong, and we haven't even talked about like we'll probably talk about this more either tonight or tomorrow. But like, yeah, I have really just like found my happy place, and like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I know that, but like every time I do trips or every time I dip my toe into this world again, it just makes so much sense. And the last couple days when you were at work, I was like playing around and tinkering around, and Mike's parents were helping me out with firewood, and like they're being so nice, and I was able to like do little DIY projects and build things and tinker with things in my bus, like in my own little realm. And I just felt so comfortable and so at peace and so in control and so like just like it was like natural, like normal, like this is like second nature to me. And I was just like so freaking happy. And again, I mean, we've been having so much fun. I mean, it's because our personalities and everything works well together. But like, the more I do this, the more it makes sense. The content, and I know a lot of the stuff coming from my old channel to the new one. Well, coming from one channel to the other, a lot of you are going to be looking at it like, why are you uploading these videos? It's because I started making videos because I love watching my adventures back, whether that's family stuff, whether that's camping, whatever it is. So I'm getting rid of one channel, I'm bringing it over to this one, to Enthusiast Adventurer, and that encompasses everything. So there are some people saying that the bus should be my logo, and there's some people saying like that should just be the content that you make. And it's like, no, if I want to make vlogs one day, I'm going to make vlogs. When Mike was at work, I went to Barnes and Nobles and I edited, and I went to a thrift store and I got some stuff and I built some things. Like that was really freaking cool. And I'm going to make videos about that. And there's other times when I'm going to make strictly fishing videos or bushcraft videos or hunting videos or just like travel vlog videos or a food review video. I don't know. It's whatever I get enthusiastic and passionate about. And every day is an adventure. So this is just all making so much sense. And even though a lot of my videos that I've posted are not caught up with the current time, I'm trying to dig at him. It's a dig at myself too. But if I push, I've done this before where I've burned out or I've pushed too hard and thought that I was ready for something that I wasn't ready for and I failed at it. I think if I do that again with YouTube and with content, I don't think I'll be able to recover. So, yeah, I'm bringing old stuff over and you guys are getting some of that, but I'm trying to be consistent and I'm just trying to respark that flame and being able to do this. So that's what's happening slowly. And it's really great that people like Mike get to see that and they get to acknowledge it because they're people that know me for the true me and they support me in these crazy adventures. So it's pretty freaking awesome. And his network of people has saved me. So thank you to everybody that has helped me on this trip, including Mike. So it's been fantastic.
And for perspective, guys, I need you to understand something that's a little bit like a proud thing. Like, so, like I said, I big brother the shit out of Janelle to the point where she tells me to shut the hell up a lot.
I love it.
But like, we met physically once before Cayuga, and that was at a trade show.
And I didn't even know like.
And it was me leaning over a counter, going, "Hey, I have some footage if you need it for your channel." And then we hung out for, what was it, 4 days for Cayuga, which
I didn't even spend time with you, really, just at like the campfire and stuff.
literally we didn't see each other that much because I was fishing in my kayak, she was with Bobby in his boat. So we just like in a weird way melded digitally. And like there was what you guys don't know, and you actually will see it in some of my videos. If you look, you'll see me like talking on the phone, like in some of the B-roll. There's been like 3.5 hour phone conversations where we were just fishing on headsets. Oh, hold on, I got a bass, and then random conversation. Matter of fact, this trip was pretty much planned on like a 4-hour phone conversation while we were fishing. But the thing that I was always like adamant about was like, if you're gonna do an ice fishing send, for example, because she said she wanted to do that, I was like, come here because of the network, because I have enough people. But also, what I'm trying to get at is I'm trying to keep her on the spawn also. So I'm gonna keep throwing this in there until she commits. But what I'm trying to say, guys, is go follow her channel, because you're gonna see my series, right? But my series is just the days I was with her. There's gonna be other content and other stuff that happen in the background that you'll be able to watch on both channels. And I will tell you, our editing and video styles are completely different. So you may see some stuff on her channel that is stuff I didn't even include. So I recommend watching both sets of videos anytime that we get together. It's kind of like when you guys watch my bear fishing stuff. He tends to include a lot more stuff, and I tend to include a lot of the stupid antics and dumb conversation and that has been, I think, the funnest thing this trip.
Co-host.
Yeah, exactly. The non-co-host co-host.
You get a name tag.
So she I'll tell you, she doesn't know this yet, but she's already committed to being.
No, I haven't.
She just doesn't know it. The thing is she doesn't want to make that commitment because she knows that she's going to be going on adventures where, like, for example, the first 2 days, we were in a complete dead zone. There was no service. There was no way to communicate with the outside world. At one point, I was calling my wife and I had to pace in a semicircle to keep my cell phone active long enough to make the phone call I needed to make. So she doesn't want to commit to being a full-time co-host, because if we have a scheduled day and she's traveling somewhere that she doesn't have service, and I know how her brain works, but there is going to be an every other week schedule that I'm committing to, that even if it's just me. But my goal is to have Janelle with me on all of those episodes, and if she decides to back out, then we will have to heckle her until she comes back. So remember that.
Guys, one of my favorite things to do is to put Mike in his place. So let me just good luck, brother. Listen.
How did you come up here?
How did I come up here?
Derail you from this conversation.
What do you mean, how?
Did you come through Southern Vermont, or how did you?
I don't fucking know. You're not gonna derail me. Listen, my favorite thing to do is tell Mike, shut up, stop. Just stop, wait, or don't do that yet. I need to film it. Or fuck you, Mike. Like, Mike changes his mind and game plan 500 times. No service was paradise. I loved every second of it, except for when we needed help. But then we got help. He changes his mind all the time. So, Janelle, I was thinking that we do this, 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 this. 5 seconds later, I changed the game plan and I'm gonna do this, 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 and this. And I'm like, all right, Mike. And this is me. I'm thinking of everything under the sun except for what he's saying, because I know he's gonna change it again. Okay? So, and I love your brain, because my brain works on similar wavelengths, and there's times when, like, I just zone out and I let Mike do what he's gonna do, and I'm listening, but I'm thinking of other things, because I know it's gonna change. But at some point we come together and we make it work. If I can make co-hosting this podcast on somewhat of a consistent basis work, I will do it. If I can't, then I'm not going to be able to do it, and I'm not going to commit to it. That's why I told him this is a trial run, and we'll see how it goes. So far, yes, it's going great. Good. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. But I don't know what the future holds, and I don't like planning that far into the future, because for some reason, when I do that, it never freaking works out. So I'm just trying to take it day by day, week by week. Sometimes it's hour by hour, minute by minute, depending on where my brain and my levels are at. And that's just kind of how it is. I do like this platform. I obviously like podcasting. I like this guy. I love talking to you guys in the chat. And I don't want to come on the show and talk about the same things all the time and get too, not bored with it, but mundane with it or repetitive with it. So we'll see how it goes, Mike doesn't have a structure. Sometimes I need structure. So there's hesitation and there's benefits and there's pros and cons to it all. But for now, it is working out great. And if I want to live on his parents' property, I'm pretty sure they'll let me live here whenever I want. They're pretty great. Everybody has been really, really great. What did you want to talk about anything specifically? He doesn't want to give too much away about what's been going on. So is there anything? It's been a long day. It's 9:00. You want to keep going or you want to cut it off or all right. Does anybody have any questions for us or advice or anything like that in the down below? Maybe possibly.
So I will say, guys, the content's going to be more detailed, but there's going to be 3 more days of fishing. And like she said, I was planning. I'm literally the whole time she's been talking, I'm trying to figure out how to get us on fish because I have this like weird mentality. I guess it's not really a weird mentality, but anytime somebody comes fishing with me, I want to make sure they catch a fish. It's just my brain. Like, I don't even care if I catch anything. And it sounds like oh, well, of course you say that. No, like literally, Ashdale, like I'm like, go get that tip up.
You let me miss 8 tip ups.
She missed she missed one fish today that
Was a nice.
that
I want to talk about it.
tip up was screaming. Like literally from about 10 yards away, I could hear the tip up going ticka 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 ticka, and we missed it.
Oh, thanks, Scott.
And the thing is my goal is to try to get her through as many bucket list species as she can, but also like create a memorable trip because I know how expensive these trips are. I do a lot of these trips. I have the financial means to take care of a lot of this stuff. And that's why I have, in some places, probably inserted myself probably almost too much into everything and been like, no, you're going to park your damn bus in my parents' yard and not be driving it all over the place in case it breaks down or somebody breaks into it. So I know she's gotten annoyed with me about this, but as far as content goes, guys, there's one trip that she doesn't have a choice on that I'm going down to her.
Oh, I was like, okay,
Well,
I rolled my eyes.
I point that way.
You're right.
It's that way. I am going down to Jersey later, well, spring-ish, to try to catch a snakehead, and I'm going to camp out in her parents' front yard or wherever the heck that I can park my truck. So there's one more of these series is coming, but my goal is to hopefully get her to a place where she can do more of them. And that's one of the reasons why everything kind of, when you guys see the whole series, you'll see what I mean. Like, there was a lot of adapting this trip. And I'm an overthinker and an over planner. And that's why I tried to get her to come here because I knew that shit was going to go wrong. So
fishing in New Jersey.
I honestly, that's something I would definitely consider. There's going to be a lot of that stuff. I guess kind of like that's the theme of this whole podcast is going to be, my goal is to do more. I'm going to be doing some like New York fishing this year. I'm going to be hitting the Adirondacks more. I'm running the Slay Nation Trail this year. And that's going to be something that I'm actually going to be filming the weigh-ins, and that's probably going to be either part of my video or a separate video. I'm going to try multi-species stuff. I will dabble with it. I'm not going to lie, I'm more bass-centric, but if I get to the point where bass fishing is just sucking for a period of time, I may be taking the robo out and troll. Try to get some trout or go to a stream or lake. I've had people try to take me fly fishing. I've been adamant to avoid it because I have way too much money invested in the sport I'm already doing, and fly fishing has a whole nother subset of gear that I can't really afford.
No.
But
and on Temu.
Yeah, that's another inside joke with the Temu. But
sponsor me.
Overall, guys, we're probably going to wrap this up, but I do want to say a very heavy-hearted thank you to you guys that watch this show. I've been seeing a ton more views. I literally went to a trade show where people are recognizing me because of this podcast. They're recognizing me because of my content. And that to me is humbling because I don't think of this as like something that I would be recognized for. This is something that I do for fun. And I will tell you right now, and Janelle can tell you because she's seen me bring the crap out. I have way more invested than I could probably ever even make on this, even if I got sponsored, because I just keep investing more money in to try making better content and get cooler stuff. But overall, I want to thank you guys for hanging out with us and listening to the show, and Scott Vermonter for showing up 2 hours early just to say he was there, and you guys having like literally full out conversations before we even join.
Are you gonna tear apart your outboard and document it?
So I'm thinking about there's a lot going on with that. So I'll just say it. I'm gonna be doing a video about it, but I purchased a Native Titan X 10.5 at the trade show. And it is literally in the garage right over there. Mm-hmm. So the old town is getting sold. And I was going to sell it to my brother. He's not sure he's going to be able to buy it, but it's going to be listed. So there's going to be a video on building that. And if I can sell the old town, that money is going to be reinvested into getting the boat rebuilt. And if I can get that boat built, that's also going to add the availability of more content with Janelle, because she'll be able to just drive up in her car and come fish with me and not have to spend as much money because the bus.
Diesel's expensive, y'all. Oh my God.
And I think she was prepared. Like, I actually, like, in reality, that's the one thing I've seen is like she did plan ahead for a lot of the contingencies, but they all hit in this trip. It wasn't like, oh, well, what happens if this happens? I have this backup. Well, yeah, but what if all of it happens? And that's kind of what happened. And that was my goal. And that's what I hope we accomplished in this was she got the excitement. She got to get through all the crap. And I tried to make it as smooth as I could. And overall, I think we're going to have a good last few days. And you guys are even going to get footage of her yelling at the damn TV at the Super Bowl because she's an Eagles fan. Yes! And she's going to be watching that at my house because that was actually one of the first like drama or adversity things was that I was like, hey, you're going to be here Sunday, right? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, the Super Bowl is Sunday and your team's in it, right? Oh. And she's like, oh, crap. She's like, I don't know how to watch it. And I'm like, you're going to come to my house and watch it. So
I did not say, oh, crap. I said, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But his lovely wife and his dog really want me there at their house to watch it.
My lovely wife has saved our butt.
Nikki, you're an incredible human being. Chef's kiss. You're incredible. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you for raising this beautiful man. I mean, loving this beautiful man and letting him do the things that he does. And yeah, I don't think I try to plan ahead like Mike, but I also understand that shit happens. And a lot of the times he would be like, fuck, and I'd be like, just fuck it, just shut up, just go, roll with the punches. I've taken, I think, all of the hits that I could take with this trip. And luckily tomorrow's payday, so I'll have a little bit more in the bank to help me out. I said, if I need my dad to wire me money to get home, then I'll just do that. It's not the worst thing in the world. I could have put more money into my bank account, but then I would have probably spent it still because we went to the tackle shop today and there was a lot of toys that I wanted to buy.
I told her not to bring her wallet.
Yeah, but all of the things that could have happened in the contingencies. So the backup fund was hit hard. And again, lessons learned. It's like the things that I've been going through, you learn how resilient you are. I never thought that I'd be camping in 7 or -4 freaking degrees comfortably. in an mostly uninsulated freaking tin can, but I'm doing it and I'm loving it and it's great. And I got this little wood stove right here, which is lovely. I got a buddy heater. I got another propane heater just in case. I got an electric blanket. Got an electric heated vest. Like things are rolling well. I roll with the punches pretty well unless they like really knock me on my ass. And at that point, I got a few people that I can call and cry to, and then I get myself back up and I keep going. I get that resilience, I think, from my dad and my mom a little bit too. But like, life is gonna happen. You don't control everything. If we did, then I think that would be so. That's so unattainable. That's not really possible. You don't control everything, so you just kind of have to deal with it and live with it. And the content that we're making this trip is insane and hilarious and eventful and heartbreaking and upsetting and exciting and just there's a lot that's happened. And we're not even there yet. We're not even done. So you guys definitely should check it out. You guys are a really great community so far. Everything that I've seen, the support that you guys give Mike is incredible.
Right there.
And what? What?
Make sure you have a CO detector.
Oh, I have it's a dual detector, and I have 2 fire extinguishers and frozen water, which works really well. Yeah, I've got a lot of my bases covered, but all of my bases have been run over about 3 times this trip. But that's what makes life fun, and that's what makes it an adventure. And if you just smile and wave, you just get through it. So thank you all for having me as a non-co-host co-host. I'll let Mike end it here, and we'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
So I want to ask her a question. We're gonna set this up because I'm planning things out in my head. Yeah. So yeah, inside joke. So we were fishing Sunday, Monday, and I kept asking her what her plan was Tuesday. And the reason why I was asking is because I was trying to figure out the best way to get her to be convinced to like just come down this way and be in this area. But the question I actually have is what species, if you could pick one that we can try to target over the next 4 days, which one do you want to try to get?
Pike.
You want to get another pike?
Yeah, I want to get a good sized pike.
Okay.
I want a pike. I don't know why I want a pike like a big pike so bad. I think probably because
You did catch one already.
I did catch one already, and I caught the smallmouth, and the smallmouth were healthy, and they put up a good fight for what they were. I'm happy with that. I think I got my largemouth fixed down in South Jersey. We caught some like 3-4 pound fish. That was like blew my mind. So for some reason I have pike on the brain. But I do like jigging for panfish as well. I just think I don't want to just go to a lake and do what we did today. That would drive me absolutely nuts.
Today taught me a lot.
Today was a tough day. But like a trout through the ice would be awesome too. Walleye would be cool. I don't know if pike's easier or harder. My dog just puked on my floor. Yay, me. Sorry, Michael. I wish I had my dog here with me. Scott laughed at that. Pike, but does that make things harder or easier
No.
for you?
So the reason I asked that is because the original plan was I was supposed to actually work tomorrow, and I was supposed to work for the first 2 hours of the day, and then meet her. But realistically, that puts us like fishing for 4 hours. The lake that we're going to tomorrow is actually a pike lake, ironically.
Crappie.
It's crappie, pike, bass. It's my home lake. You guys have seen it 100 times. I'm not gonna say the name of it. Those who know the name of it know the name of it. But that place has been getting beat up, and I'm actually kind of cooling my fishing on that particular body of water. So don't be surprised, guys, next year when you see me fishing a different body of water.
Do you want to go to Crown Point? Lake trout are on fire.
How
far is that?
So
Look at me.
lake trout are on fire at Crown Point, and Crown Point is also trying to kill people right now. I don't know if you've seen videos recently, but that place is pressure crack city and wicked, like waves and crap. I'm not sure I want to play with that. And for 2 reasons. One, I'm a wimp, and I actually avoid Champlain for ice fishing because of the unpredictableness of it. And also, Murphy has already kicked our ass this trip enough time that I don't want to test fate by going on a body of water that, I'll be honest, like those of you not from Vermont, most of your ice fishing accidents and issues happen on that lake. And I don't like playing with that. I like going small lakes that I can kind of control. And next year we'll probably try to work out some sort of Champlain send. We'll go up north where the weather's a little colder and things are a little different. But I've seen a lot of Crown Point has been hit so hard and so pressured that I'm not so sure it's going to work out this year. And the fact that she said pike actually kind of makes me happy because walleye is what I expected her to say. And the problem with walleye is there's very limited lakes here in Vermont that have those. And
Wasn't even on my radar, really.
they're more of a after dark fish. And we tried. Now you guys will see in the content. We tried to fish at night. We were fishing in the dark, but didn't last long and kind of ended up turning into just going to bed and calling it a day. But that's going to help me plan my strategy out for, the Harriman res. Yeah, that thing. That's what Bobby was talking about in the podcast.
The fire explosion thing.
So, but yeah, so then you heard it here on the show. I am making it my goal to get her on a bigger pike.
Nice.
Do you have a specific size that you like? I mean, I can't like promise like a 40-incher or something, but a little bit bigger size. Okay.
Yeah, mine was like 18 inches.
Yeah, she did catch one. It was we'll call it a lethargic pike.
Yeah,
he didn't fight.
What the smallmouth did.
He came out of the water like you guys from Vermont that have caught northern pike through the ice. This thing, I thought it was a perch. Like I was like, that's probably a perch. And then she pulled out. She's like, it's a pike. And I'm like, huh? And it was like super skinny. It was like, I don't know if it was like, I don't know, a vegan pike or something. And it was like just too weak to fight. But the lake that we're going to is got a lot. It's actually a place that I get annoyed with the pike. So I'm hoping that we'll get her on one.
Here's my thought process. I want a decent tip-up bite. If I can get a pike on a tip-up, that's great. To occupy my time, not with the dinks that we were catching today, but like if we can jig up some panfish, that would make me super happy. So it's also, I have ADHD, so I can't just sit there and not be freaking doing something. So if I'm waiting for if one tip-up goes off and that's the big fish or the bigger fish that I want, that's great. But if I can consistently pick off bluegill and keep me happy all day, that's a success in my book. So let's freaking go.
Yeah, so that's where our strategy changes. Is we're actually going to be doing more nomadic fishing for a little bit.
He says that now. He'll change his mind tomorrow.
No, it's I like I said, this is my home lake, and I know should have let me borrow live scope. Yeah, I can't.
What the hell, man?
So the underwater camera, dude. I'll send you a link to the one that I got.
So good.
Other than one technical difficulty I had with it today, that thing has been like really cool because you could see everything and we're literally giggling in my little ground blind shanty.
This close to each
and
other.
As I'm yelling, wait, he's got it in his mouth. Hold on. Don't. Yep. Wait. Yep. And then, yeah, it's just like this crazy footage, and I'm hoping to get more of that tomorrow. And yeah, no, next year, Camp, my plan is to have
2 weeks at least.
her go to Waterbury Res, which is the trout and the other species that we'll be able to get. That's kind of my goal, honestly, each year. And that's something that I'm trying to do more of in my channel next year, this year, is fish different places. I got burned out last year with a lot of the lakes that I fished, and I kind of got bored with them, to be honest. And I like going to new places, and literally her channel is adventurer. So we might as well just, like, I'm not going to hit the same spots every year. So the series that I'm releasing, this is a multiple, like, it's not just multiple episode. 2026 will be series 2. You know, it's going to be the second season. So, and I thought about that too, Kent. So we'll be talking to try to get her in on that. But before I continue to ramble and drag this on anymore, we got to get up in the morning to go ice fishing. I want to thank you guys for hanging out. I actually potentially have another live stream next Thursday. I don't know if Janelle will be around at that point. I'm bringing on we'll say old but familiar guest from the American Angler Outdoors and Gray Goat Lures, and we have a little bit of an announcement and stuff going with that. But overall, my plan, like I said, is to go every other week because, like Janelle said, we run out of stuff to talk about. I spent this whole podcast talking about stuff that I'm going to be talking about. So
that's what they like. They like people talking, so I guess it works.
But my plan is to go every other week to commit to you guys that we're going to do 2 a month. And if we happen to find guests that can come on in different days, we'll bring them on. Maybe we'll bring on the non-Wish version, and we'll bring Bobby Roast Beef back, and we'll have the Wish and non-Wish version together.
Wish, non-Wish, and Timu.
We have non-Wish, Wish, and Timu podcast, and maybe we'll get the 3 of us on an episode soon too. But I'm going to end it right here with thank you guys for hanging out with us for an hour and a half. I have seen, like I said, huge growth. I've seen a lot of views. I've seen a lot of listens on Spotify, and I really appreciate you guys just hanging out. This podcast literally became its own thing, and it's because of you guys. So I want to thank you. And
everybody root for the Eagles. Everybody, please just root for the damn Eagles and give us all the good juju to beat the freaking Chiefs. I'm just saying, man.
All right, guys, we're going to end it right here. But yeah, we will be back next week, and I will put out an announcement and more information, and be on the lookout for Beyond the Ice series on my side, and whatever Janelle decides to call hers and edit, and she's going to have like 100 videos. So, but yeah, guys, I will talk to you all in a week.